The Galactic Council had always considered humanity a paradox. They were newcomers compared to ancient civilizations that had mapped the stars long before humans learned to shape fire. Yet humans adapted quickly, too quickly. They brought bold ideas, dangerous technologies, and unsettling determination wherever they went. But strangely, for nearly 2 centuries after joining the Council, humanity restrained itself. They compromised during trade disputes, swallowed insults during diplomatic assemblies, and ignored territorial encroachments that would have driven other species to war. Many thought it weakness. Others whispered it was strategy. Ambassador Vale of the Akari still remembered the sneering tone of the Kothrix delegate during the infamous session on resource allocation. "The humans will bark," the insectoid had said, "but they never bite." The chamber had erupted with laughter. Humanity's representative had simply smiled, recorded the insult, and returned to silence. And that was how it went until the Targos incident. The Targos were notorious raiders on the fringe of council space, tolerated only because they struck small, unprotected colonies. This time, however, they had chosen poorly. A settlement on the rim world of Havers Reach, population 40,000, had been hit. Every man, woman, and child slaughtered. The council's reaction was predictable. Endless debate, calls for restraint, and diplomatic balancing acts. "We must not escalate," intoned Speaker Relker. "We must preserve harmony. Tragic as it is, a measured response will." The human delegate, Captain Elias Rourke, stood slowly. His uniform was plain compared to the ornate robes and crests of the other species, but his voice carried like a blade drawn in silence. "For 2 centuries," he said, "we have listened to you preach harmony while predators circled. We endured slander. We tolerated raids. We restrained ourselves because we believed in coexistence. But 40,000 of our people are dead. Children burned in their homes. Families erased." The council chamber quieted, unease rippling through the assembly. Rourke's eyes swept across them, calm and cold. "You mistake patience for weakness. That mistake ends today." The recording of that session would later be studied in military academies across the galaxy. Not for the words, but for the silence that followed. An oppressive stillness as every species realized something irreversible had shifted. Within a week, humanity's fleets mobilized. These were not the small patrol craft the Council had seen before, but warships forged in orbital foundries far from prying eyes. Dreadnoughts bristling with rail cannons and kinetic lances. Carriers releasing swarms of AI-guided strike craft. Entire planetary defense networks uprooted and reborn as armadas. The Targos never stood a chance. Their strongholds were burned out of existence in less than 4 days. Those who tried to flee were hunted down with ruthless precision. Survivors surrendered not to negotiations, but to judgment. Trials broadcast to every corner of known space, concluding with executions that left no room for doubt. The Council demanded explanations. They pleaded for restraint. Some even threatened sanctions. Humanity did not answer. Instead, fleets began to spread across disputed sectors. Worlds once preyed upon by raiders woke to find human ships in orbit, guns trained outward. Pirate clans vanished overnight, their bases reduced to glowing craters. Smuggling routes went dark. Borders that had shifted for centuries suddenly froze in place, locked down by human patrols. For the first time, predators of the galaxy felt fear. Ambassador Vale, watching from his station, realized with a chill why the humans had waited so long. Their patience had not been submission. It had been calculation, endless recording, mapping, preparing. And when they finally moved, they did not simply retaliate. They rewrote the rules of power. On distant worlds, children of alien races whispered stories. How the humans' eyes burned with cold fire, how their ships blotted out the stars, how they struck not in rage but in certainty. The Council never forgot the sight of Captain Rourke's final words in that chamber, transmitted live across the galaxy. "You wanted to know when humanity would finally bite. Now you'll spend the rest of history remembering it." And so it was that patience, once mistaken for weakness, became humanity's most terrifying weapon. because no species would ever forget the moment humanity's patience finally snapped.